it's Tom Sykes here, aka the Royalist. Don't forget to smash the grey subscribe button in the top left-hand corner. It's another very exciting evening in the royal reporting world. Everybody scrambling, everybody trying to decide what to do, everybody trying to decide whether to stay in the office or whether they should go to their party as planned. I'm going to my party later as planned, which is why I am doing a quick live now. So basically, I need to apologise to everybody who came on last night just before 8 o'clock. We thought the big Prince Andrew announcement was going to happen. The rumour mill is cranked up to 11, as Spinal Tap would say this afternoon, saying that once again, saying it's going to happen. There's a slight sense of perhaps having cried wolf yesterday, so people are a bit nervous. But I am reliably informed that the BBC were amongst those who were told that an announcement was forthcoming, and then other people said that it wasn't. And I think that ultimately, so what I've reported this afternoon. Is that it's a matter of when, not if, is what my source told me. Prince Andrew will vacate Royal Lodge. I was told by a former courtier who's been a good source for me in the past. They told me he is moving. It's just a matter of getting the choreography right now. And I think what they mean by that is they mean it's a matter of announcing it in a way that suits the king, announcing it in a way that, doesn't knock other stuff off the front pages. And of course, yesterday was like a huge day with the Pope, and that's the kind of thing that Charles wants in his obituary, that he wants in his legacy, that he's the king who convened the Catholic Church and the Anglican Church and all that. So I think that's part of the reason why it didn't happen yesterday. I think the other reason, not to be totally flippant, is because all the royal rota was out in Rome and then on the plane back with him. And I think it was just a lot to kind of try and manage to get everybody gathered together. Today, the king again, trying to keep the focus on the sort of international affairs. He's been with Volodymyr Zelensky, who was over. There's been a big sort of press conference here about the coalition of the willing, about Ukraine. I think to be fair to the king, I think he is very sensitive about accusations that, not accusations, but he's sensitive to the fact that he doesn't want the Windsor's internal family drama to knock, important stuff about Ukraine and that off the front pages, off the news channels. So I'm not convinced. There could be something coming in about 3 or 4 minutes. If something does come. Last week, 7 p.m. is a very unusual time for them to release stuff. Usually it's 11 a.m. Well, in the old days, it always used to be 11 a.m. Lately, we've seen a bit more of a shift to 6 p.m. I think that some of the big cancer-related videos came out at 6 p.m. And then, of course, last week, when Prince Andrew, it was only this day last week, incredibly, I know it seems like a lifetime ago, when Andrew announced that he was very gallantly going to allow us to just call me Prince Andrew. That'll be fine from now on. You don't need to call me Duke of York anymore, which was very generous of him, wasn't it? a very nice, generous thing of Prince Andrew to do for us all. But that was supposed to come out at 6, and then in fact it came out at 7 because it came out at 7 because I was told, because they were all arguing about it and screaming at each other about what the wording was going to be and all this kind of stuff. And to be fair, it looks like Prince Andrew won that argument. I mean, I felt that the statement that came out last week was very odd. It was very peculiar, saying that Andrew, was this honourable man. Too honourable, some might say. Some might say he is too honourable. Who knows? But so it's all very exciting. Who knows? We will find out. I've learned my lesson from yesterday when I did a big live yesterday, and nothing happened, and I felt very guilty because everybody was great. And then people messaged me, "Don't worry, it was fine. It was good. It was good to be enjoying it." But I think the substance of what I was saying yesterday, that this is coming down the pipe, is definitely true, and it is coming down the pipe. Whether or not it's going to happen in the next 3 minutes or not, I to be honest, I'm abdicating from trying to predict that. But we'll find out. And I'm watching on telly, but I don't know why I'm bothering, because you guys are going to tell me in the comments the moment anything happens. I want the full statement in the comments, please. Um, so, but yeah, so I think it'll be a great relief for the royal family when this is done. Attention will then turn to where Andrew's going to live, which will be a very interesting question. Will he go off to the Middle East, where Andrew Loney has reported he's been given a fully staffed palace, or will he go to Scotland, potentially to another one of the Queen Mother's lovely, splendidly appointed mansions, perhaps the Castle of May? Will he go to Frogmore Cottage? I can't see that happening, because it would just be very inconvenient for everybody involved. He'd still be on their doorstep. Still be showing up at royal events. And ultimately, if you're going to go through all this trouble of like getting rid of him and exiling him, they're going to have to pay him off, which I've said from the beginning as well, that this is going to come down to a question of money. Why would you bother moving him to Windsor when you could send him a great deal further away? So anyway, very interesting. And then the other story that I just couldn't resist today was this amazing, and yeah, nothing coming through on the wires on the news channels. The other story that I could not resist today was this incredible story. So Meghan, as we all know, has got a reputation for not being the greatest boss, shall we say. Might be a diplomatic way to put it. And it came out this morning. There was a report in the Mail saying that yet another senior PR person, and this was the lady who had previously worked for the Crown, so she was quite controversial when she was hired, had quit or left or whatever. I mean, I don't really know what to make of this, but so there was a kind of as ever thing saying there's a new thing on the 28th of October. We know that the holiday special, is due at any point soon. And, Meghan is trying to set herself up as this kind of entertaining goddess. Now, I'm sorry, because the limitations of the Substack native live system, it's not like when I do it on YouTube and I can share videos. So I'm just going to play this, and hopefully you can hear it over the other ambient sounds. But this is Meghan speaking in a bookshop last night about entertaining. And I think that I would argue that the vacuity of the advice rivals Pippa Middleton. Who famously told people that before a party, it was a good idea to put some water, as it's known, in shallow trays and place it in the freezer to create something called ice. And I always thought that Pippa's book was brilliant for people who needed instructions on how to have ice. Here's Meghan's advice for throwing a great party. Now, I apologise again to the poor sound quality. You're just going to have to hear it from my laptop. And please message Substack and tell them to enable Riverside and StreamYard so that we can share video properly.
I love people being able to serve themselves and having things on the stove that everyone can help themselves to. So yes, for example, you could say, "Hi, can I get you a cup of tea?" That's a lot of work if you have 6 to 8 people coming through. You could equally say, "Oh, on the stove, there's a pot of spiced cider brewing, and there's a whole tray of mugs there. Help yourself. Take your shoes off, get cozy. Board games are out." Yeah. All of those things where it just creates ease. And what is the one thing you want to feel in someone's home is ease. If you as a hostess are dolled up and dressed up for a really fancy dinner that you're having at your house, well, if you still answer your door barefoot or with your apron on, everyone goes, "Oh, she's still in this with me." It takes a lot. It just demystifies this pressure and the feeling, but equally, I would say for us in our house, those top tips of allowing people to be part of the community of taking care of themselves and do your prep. Oh my gosh, you can get so much of that stuff done the day before. Get a tray with mugs on it and sit it right on the counter. You have that brewing, not like the hot toddy or spice cider on the stove. Not only does it take the pressure out for you of having to serve everyone, it also makes your house smell incredible. People walk in. I told you I love fragrance. People walk in, they go, and what are they drawn to? Your kitchen. They come right in, and suddenly everyone is a little bit softened in the experience of entertaining.
I mean, I just you just don't even know where to start, do you? I mean, you just don't even know where to start. I mean, it's so insane. I mean, even if you okay, so let's just park all the ridiculous advice, like put on a really fancy clothes and then wear an apron. By the way, Megan didn't wear an apron once in her like show. She's making jam with like, as my sister Plum was saying on one the community, the guests being a community. It's like, what is going on? But okay, so let's park all the crazy advice, right? I know, where is Plum when we need her? Let's park all the ridiculous advice and just say, she was speaking off the top of her head and hadn't been hadn't done a little exercise before or what. Anyway, forget all of that. Sorry, forget the actual advice in terms of, put a tray of mugs out, greet your friends barefoot, ask them to kick their shoes off, right? Personally, that's not how I would like to entertain my friends at my house, but that might just be me and that might be her. Fair enough. But what I find really, really weird about the whole thing is like, you know, anybody knows these days that when you're doing an event in a bookshop or something like that, and everybody's videoing you, especially when you're Megan, that's going to go around the world. And I find it extraordinary that these lines must have been rehearsed, right? These were, and I'm sure, I know I've got lots of journalist friends. I'm sure there's some journalists on here tonight and people who've worked in media training, right? I've done media training for people. I've been media trained. It's really simple. Before you go in, what you say to somebody is you say, right, if I was media training Megan, I'd say, right, Megan, you've got to have three key points, right? So number one could be like, uh, entertaining's really fun and a really good way to do it is to invite people into your home and make your home a warm and welcoming place, right? That could be like one very simple thing. And then you have illustration points for it to, I know, I'm sorry, I haven't got my time. I'm going to a party. You've got the illustration points for it. And what I find really crazy is they went, okay, the illustration points for this fundamentally quite sensible idea of like, you're the entertaining goddess are like, put mugs on a tray, give people a mug. It's too much hassle to make a pot of tea. Like it, and then this thing about like your guests being your community, like about, I mean, anyway, there's nothing more really that I can say because she said it all herself. But yeah, and I find it strange. And look, yeah, I can see Sean there. How are you, Sean? Good to see you. And Sean, actually, I was reading your comment earlier, Sean, and Sean made a really good point, which he said, look, there's lots of people who don't know, how to do really basic stuff. And there could be a kind of niche here. And forgive me, Sean, if I'm paraphrasing, I'm sure you will correct me in the comments. But you said something like, give people a break. Like, not everybody does know how to do basic things or how to welcome people into their home or this and that and the other. But, and I totally take your point, but then I find it really weird that if that is Megan's sell, that it's all like so sort of, I just feel like, she consistently frankly really kind of wants to gloat about her wealth and her status and her friends and her powerful friends and all that kind of stuff. I don't find it very approachable. I don't find it massively I don't know. I find it just weirdly kind of alien. I just find it really fake, to be honest. I just find it totally fake, and I find it totally inauthentic. And I think that that's the problem at the absolute core of Meghan's brand, is that it's just completely inauthentic. I just don't believe a word of it. And I actually wrote quite a long piece about this the other day when she was using the jam tongs the wrong way round. And like lots of people use jam tongs the wrong way around, right? People do, but not people who are really into making jam, because it's a safety thing. Like if you hold the jam tongs by the wrong end once in a while, you're making jam once in a while, it's going to be fine, right? But if you're making loads of jam the whole time, which is what Megan said she was doing, and you're consistently using the wrong end of the tongs, in the end, it's going to slip and it's going to burst, and you're going to have boiling sugar all over the place. That's why jam tongs were invented, right? Or canning tongs, whatever you want to call them. So I, I think that at the core of what Megan does, there always seems to be this lack of authenticity. And I actually don't believe that her idea of how to prep for a good party is getting a tray of mugs out. I just don't believe it. I absolutely do not believe it. And I also don't believe that when she has friends round for dinner and she's wearing her $18,000 worth of Loro piano cashmere, that she sort of, and it's weird because she almost suggests that you should artificially put an apron on to answer the door because this is somehow going to make people feel more relaxed. It's not going to make me feel more relaxed. I mean, the thing that I hate to hear more than anything when I arrive at someone's house for lunch is, "I'm just putting the potatoes on." I mean, there are no worse words to hear in the English language when you arrive at someone's house. You know, you want to arrive. I agree what she says, that nobody wants the host to be stressed and running around and having a bad time. And I totally agree. I'd rather have slightly overdone subpar food that's been sitting in the oven for a little while and the host just be chilled out, than than the host being a terrible stress. But at the core of it, I think that the problem why Meghan's whole brand has failed to work, and regardless of what I think or regardless of what anyone thinks, like I just feel like the reason that the brand has failed to work is because it just feels so fake. It just feels so inauthentic at its core. And look, that's just my opinion. It's going to. I'm just going to check quickly. There's nothing coming in. So I don't know. Like at this stage, timings on Andrew. Maybe you'd say Sunday. Maybe Sunday papers. Maybe it'll start leaking out tomorrow. I've been told by uh sources that this is happening, that it's just a matter of when, not if, and that it's a matter of getting the choreography right, and that Andrew is on the move. So we shall see. I think I'm right. And thank you very much, everybody, for joining with no notice, short notice, or no notice. Um, I'll be on and off a bit over the weekend. I've got a busy weekend myself, lots of stuff going on. And yeah, where does he go? Where does he go? I think all I can firmly say is I think a long, long way away. I think that's my best analysis of where he goes. Thanks very much, everybody. Enjoy your Friday night. And if something dramatic happens, I will try and hop back on. Bye.